If you're thinking about taking an Alaska cruise on Virgin Voyages, there are a lot of things we wish we knew about before taking this trip.
From what you actually need to pack, to whether a balcony is worth it, to the expensive excursions, the unpredictable weather, and even the mistakes people make booking Alaska cruises.
We're gonna break down everything you need to know before sailing to Alaska with Virgin Voyages.
And honestly, we couldn't find a video that covered all of this in one place, so we decided to make the guide that we wish we had before this trip.
Because Alaska is very different from a Caribbean cruise, and if you come prepared, this can easily become one of the coolest vacations you'll ever take.
The first thing that we're gonna talk about is actually choosing the right Virgin voyage for your Alaska trip. Now, they all leave from the same place, which is gonna be Seattle, and most of them are 7 nights right now. They do have some 9-night itineraries as well, which would be pretty cool because you just get more glaciers, more wildlife, more Alaska, which is never a bad thing. The last thing to consider or keep in mind is the weather can and will change drastically.
Yep.
We were supposed to go to Tracy Arm Fjord. We weren't able to go there because of the ice melting and everything like that. So we got rerouted to Endicott Arm and Dawes Glacier, which was obviously sick. But again, just know it can change, and trust me, it could rain like that.
Oh, absolutely. We also didn't even get to go all the way into Dawes Glacier, if you remember, because of the weather at the time.
Yeah.
I genuinely had a fantastic experience regardless, but just don't get too attached to the itinerary because it could change. But yeah, the more nights you get to spend in Alaska, the better.
Yeah.
Another question with booking your cruise is if you need a balcony room. And there's a lot of reasons people think they need a balcony room. Obviously, amazing views with the privacy of your own space, and all of that is extremely nice. But there are a lot of public viewing spaces on the ship.
True.
So it really depends on what you prioritize. I think we loved our private time just looking at the views, so I would do a balcony again. But if you're somebody that would rather spend your money on experiences, doing excursions, and you're fine being out in public and maybe making friends and talking about the nature, I really think that it's up to you if a balcony is even worth it or not. So genuinely, spend your budget how you want to experience Alaska, if that makes sense.
Super fair, because Virgin does a really good job. Their viewing decks are just easy, incredible. Nothing was ever really like too busy. So if you don't have that balcony, I promise you can find a good lookout spot. But the balcony was nice. I don't know if it was just because we had a giant one with our friends or not, but I mean, we were able to just stand out there for hours, and that was a nice touch.
It was glorious.
Yeah, but we didn't do any excursions, so.
We had to budget in every port. So honestly,
to each their own. To each their own. Now that you're booked, let's talk about packing for the cruise. And boy, oh boy, this is a hot topic.
Yeah.
One thing I will say is you are going to overpack. It's inevitable, and it's probably what you should do. I can't tell you the amount of times that we had packing conversations between us, our friends, our family, and I was getting a little over it, if you know what I mean. But speaking for myself, I wore a freaking hoodie and the same pants almost every day. It was honestly really chill. Like, we brought waterproof shoes, we brought umbrellas, we brought ponchos, all of that. We just got blessed, and there wasn't really any rain, like
super lucky,
at all, unless we were on the ship, and then you can kind of run away from the rain. But yeah, I mean, you will overpack. That's a good thing. Pack for rain, do, you know, the 3-tier layer system, whatever you want to call it. It's better to be over-prepared, that's for sure.
I definitely agree. And from a woman's perspective, you are gonna wanna bring layers. I definitely run cold, so I ended up in 2 layers for the most part. I wore a light pair of leggings and then sweats on the bottom, and then I doubled up on the top with just a long sleeve shirt or a thermal layer underneath a crew neck usually. The sweaters were a little cold because they're knit, so that was just for me personally, and if it was really cold, I put a jacket on over that. But keep in mind, they have blankets on the ship to warm you up as well. And on the ship, we had the waterproof shoes, but we wore slides and fuzzy socks the whole time. And that was the move.
Yeah.
We looked like we were wearing pajamas the whole entire trip, but it was amazing, and nobody judged us because Virgin does not have a dress code.
Very true. But again, pack rain stuff. It could rain at the drop of a hat. We just got super lucky and didn't experience that.
Another hot topic on packing is binoculars. Everybody says bring binoculars. We definitely thought we were ahead of the curve by not bringing them because we have 20 times zoom on our phone, and also on some of the decks they have binoculars there for you. So we didn't find ourselves wanting them that much, but everybody around us, our friends, our family, they brought binoculars and they used them a lot.
Yeah.
So
very true.
Maybe just bring the binoculars. I don't know why we made it harder than it needed to be.
I just didn't really think about it, and nor did I think we would need or want them, and honestly, I was good without them.
I kind of agree.
At no point was I like, man, I wish I had binoculars. But one thing that you definitely should bring is a beanie.
A 𝐵𝐼𝐺.
A 𝐵𝐼𝐺. A 𝐵𝐼𝐺 is always a good idea. My ears get nice and cold, warms you right up. If it's raining, it soaks it up. It's just the perfect utility for cold weather. If there's one thing I would say to bring, beanie.
And one last kind of niche thing I would say to bring is something to do when you're sitting around just observing nature, whether that's a watercolor paint set or a deck of cards or your favorite card game, whatever that might be. So many people were just hanging around the deck, just enjoying the vibes. It's a bit more of a slow moving experience, but I'm so serious. We saw wildlife every 5 seconds.
Yeah.
So if you bring the watercolor paint set, you got a lot to paint. There are a lot of experiences you're gonna want to keep forever. Okay, so your cruise is booked. You know how to pack. Now the question is the excursions. Are they worth the extra money? And I will be so honest, Alaska excursions are expensive.
Wild.
They're not cheap, but they are once in a lifetime opportunities, and I've never regretted a penny I've ever spent on an excursion from a cruise ship, to be honest with you. But if you think you're not gonna make it back out to Alaska, you have to splurge and live it up, right? We're hoping that we are gonna get to go back, so personally, we budgeted every single cruise port. We ended up spending less every single day than we would have spent on an excursion, but we saw bears, we saw bald eagles, we went to museums, we explored historic towns. So I'm honestly really glad we didn't do an excursion and we figured everything out for ourselves, but it took a lot more planning. It's a little bit less convenient. So to each their own on that, but I will say you can totally do these ports without spending a lot of money.
I think the reason the excursions are so expensive is because you're paying for the convenience. You have the peace of mind knowing that it's booked through the cruise line. So if you're running late, you're gonna be good and all that stuff.
So true.
You're really paying for the convenience because again, we did things that were planned excursions and it was literally like a quarter of the price for the actual ticket, and it's because you got to find your own way there. But we're always down to save a little bit of cash and do it the hard way.
That is so true. And if you do want to see how we budgeted all these ports, we actually vlogged the whole entire thing. We've got that video right up here, and it should also hopefully show up in the sidebar right there. So check it out. Let us know your thoughts. I think we did a really good job of budgeting.
Absolutely. We are the budget king and queen. So speaking on excursions, we're gonna talk really quick about the wildlife and the glacier viewing. You can book excursions for these, but we're gonna tell you a little bit about your experience on board. You're gonna see all this stuff. We saw whales, we saw birds, we saw glaciers, we saw dolphins, porpoises, you name it, we saw it from the ship. The one thing I will say, if you wanna get super up close and personal with that stuff, that's where an excursion is gonna make sense. Obviously, if you do a whale watching tour, you're gonna be in a small boat right on the frickin' surface of the water, so you're gonna see some crazy stuff. If you book an excursion to go to a glacier, you're gonna touch the glacier. You can't really do that from the ship, obviously. So if you're just a visual person and you're fine seeing it from a distance, you're gonna see everything that you could possibly wanna see when you're on the ship or when you're in port. But if you wanna see it up close and personal, that's when you're gonna have to shell out and probably book an excursion.
Yeah, and I will say the only thing we didn't see personally was a sea otter. I really wanted to see one,
Yeah,
but your views are constantly changing on an Alaska cruise. So if you looked out the window 2 minutes ago, it's gonna be a completely different experience looking out the window now. If you saw a whale 2 seconds ago, there's a chance that there's a pod of dolphins following right behind, you know? So it's just never ending excitement while you're on the ship.
Along with the views changing at all times, it's kind of our favorite way of cruising, I'm not gonna lie. Usually we're just open ocean, so we don't really see a lot of wildlife. There's obviously nothing to look at other than the ocean, which is beautiful,
Gorgeous.
but we were literally seeing some crazy stuff. I mean, the water we were looking at was incredible. The wildlife, obviously, the glaciers, yes, but just the greenery, the forests, the little inlets, there's just always something to look at. Me personally, I do get a little seasick, so the fact that we were like in the inside passage or close to land or in between land the whole time, it was just super nice. You really forgot that you were on a ship, because for
Genuinely.
me, I kind of feel every little bit, and I don't know if it's my anxiety or whatnot, but this was very, very nice, and we will be back for another Alaska cruise, because that was just a brilliant pleasure.
When it comes to your actual experience on board the ship, I did do a whole video going over every difference of Virgin between a normal Caribbean cruise and an Alaska cruise. But on board you get blankets, you get Alaska exclusive food and coffee. They do not give out free hot chocolate,
Wow.
which is the one thing that I hear other cruise lines do. But other than that, I genuinely think a Virgin voyage to Alaska is better than any cruise you can take.
Yeah.
I haven't taken those cruises, keep that in mind, but I don't think that there's better than this. I get why people get hooked, man.
Now let's talk about things we didn't expect from our Alaska sailing. And the first one for me, how late the sun sets.
Yes.
It was absolutely gnarly. Like, obviously we were aware of that. I've heard of that before, I've seen it, but to experience it is a completely different thing. The fact that it was like still bright outside and the sun was just setting at 11 p.m., my body was like, what is going on right now? And then it rises like stupid early at like 4 a.m. So I wake up and I'm looking and I'm like, oh my God, it's daytime already, but it's 4 freaking in the morning. Gnarly, gnarly. It's nice though, because you get a lot of daytime, a lot of daylight. So that's a good thing.
Yeah, you get to experience everything to the fullest. And it also makes you wonder why they're closing everything so early. You're like, what the heck? The sun hasn't even set. Why are they closing this? Oh, because it's midnight. The other thing that was super different about this sailing is they turn the music off completely. Like, you get pure peace and quiet. Usually they're playing super loud music on the pool deck, but even outside of there, you hear music from your room, you hear music from literally everywhere on the ship.
Yeah.
It is completely turned off on all outside areas, and I really loved that a lot.
The last thing that really surprised us after 4 different Virgin Voyages was how busy the social club and the galley were. Everyone was like on the same clock. It was like between 8:30 to 10:30 is breakfast, and like everyone on the ship was there. And then lunch was 1 to 2 p.m. Everyone on the ship is there. And same with dinner. It was just like, oh my God, I've never seen the galley busier. The wait times were astronomical. There wasn't a seat in sight. They had to open up gun bay for extra seating. I've never seen that before. Like, it was just gnarly how many people there were. And we've been on full Virgin Voyages before, but it was unlike anything I've seen before.
Yeah, but opening up gun bay was awesome. The seats in there are so comfy, and it's such a good viewing area for the wildlife as well. So honestly, it kind of panned out to be a pro.
Yeah.
To wrap it all up in a bow though, we're gonna give you our best Alaska cruise advice, and that is to just slow down, enjoy the scenery, don't overschedule yourself, enjoy all of the activities, but also just enjoy the time to be in your own little world. Being on a cruise separates you from real life so much. Specifically an Alaska cruise, it's like you're on another planet. So just enjoy enjoying.
Yeah, and there's always something to do, whether you're animal watching, sightseeing, at a show, whatever the case may be. Get off your phone. Like, obviously talking to people is fine, but like scrolling Instagram when you have some of the best views that you could possibly get on this planet, what's the point? You can scroll Instagram at home. Just slow down, decompress a little bit, and actually enjoy the peaceful surroundings.
Yeah, and if you need a little help, they offer meditation and yoga on board. So you are in good hands with Virgin Voyages to be able to slow down and really enjoy Alaska.
Thank you so much for watching. We really hope this helped you plan your Virgin Voyage Alaska cruise, and hope you have the absolute best time, because it's incredible.
Absolutely. And if you do want to see more Alaska content from us, like you're there with us, we did already put out a couple other Alaska Virgin Voyages videos, including a whole ship tour of the Brilliant Lady. So we'll see you over there, or we'll see you in the next one. Ahoy!